This is Hemant.
And Jessica.
And you're listening to the Friendly Atheist Podcast. Please go to patreon.com/Friendly Atheist Podcast to support the show and get your ad-free and bonus episodes and video podcasts in case you want to see us live.
This week's shirt says, "This shirt helped fund a safe abortion."
Very nice.
I've worn it a million times and apparently I don't know what it says.
You funded 3 million abortions.
I'm so brave.
And by the way, this week we'll also post this for those who asked for it to be like unlisted on YouTube. We could do that. And I think that some of you asked for that. We'll be able to do that this week too.
Yeah, we can get that done. Hemant's not feeling great today, so we're going to try to rip roar through this.
The problem of staying awake late on an election night.
Oh, yes. But good news from the election.
Good news all around. By the way, this is not a story I was going to cover, but this is in the exit polling from Tuesday night's elections. When it came to the New York City mayoral election that Zoran Mamdani won, among non-religious voters in New York City, this is from an NBC News exit poll, 75% of nuns voted for Mamdani over like Cuomo.
Dang.
75%, which is the biggest
you don't see a lot of voting blocks like that except for like white evangelicals.
I mean, right. And again, white evangelicals really weren't a factor in this race because it's overly democratic.
Yeah.
But like 75% of nuns voted for Mamdani, 21% voted for Cuomo, which basically says 75% of nuns backed this Muslim democratic socialist. And that is a wider margin than any other religious group among the mostly democratic base that voted. So I found that one interesting. And I'm sure there'll be more discussions to come about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to get good news. It seems like the Democrats really swept everything, which is...
It was a good night for Democrats by and large, and... yeah, it's just good news for once in a political cycle.
Do you think that this is going to perhaps encourage some of Trump's more fascistic tendencies if he's like...
to die down? No.
No. I think that's going to ramp him up because he's like, we're not going to like...
He will try to go all in on voter suppression, but I don't... Based on everything Republicans...
Do you think he's going to try to run again?
He'll try to find a way around it, but I don't think it's going to work. But I do think based on what Republicans like Mike Johnson said today, they refuse to learn any lessons from this.
Perfect.
They're just like, well, it was blue states, so whatever. Of course this is going to happen.
Virginia?
It's like, I mean, right. Virginia's not exactly a blue state. New Jersey, Republicans thought they could win.
Yeah.
And I think in Virginia, nearly every county saw huge swings in the Democratic direction, even in red areas.
Interesting.
So it's like, I think the biggest takeaway from this is for all the redistricting that Republicans have done and trying to gerrymander things in Texas and other red states, that only works if you think you're going to hold on to everything you did in 2024 numbers wise and improve on it.
Yeah.
And if you're diluting some of your Republican areas to try to ramp up other areas, that might not be a good plan for you, especially if you think like, oh, in Texas, all the Latinos will vote for us in these areas. Not according to last night, they're not.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It would be fun to watch everything in Texas backfire. We'll see. I hope it lasts for another year.
The adorable book, Red, White, and Royal Blue, there's a whole subplot about flipping Texas Blue. And it makes...
wishful thinking.
It is wishful. I mean, it's a romance novel where the son of the female president falls in love with the son of the king or the queen or somebody.
Sure.
He's a prince.
Why not?
But I mean, I think there's compelling thought of like a largely Hispanic voter base is not being treated great by Republicans right now.
They were lied to. They fell for it. And maybe now they're figuring out it's not good for us as a people.
Well, the economy is in the garbage and costs of everything is going up. And so literally nothing the war in Ukraine is ongoing. Like literally nothing he promised was...
You'll never believe this. Trump lies.
I know. and truly, like, you know, we're a year out from the election or...
the midterms, yeah.
No, I'm sorry. The 2024 election.
Yeah.
And I had so many friends whose parents will be like, who actually did a really petty thing, which I love, is they emailed their parents gas prices on the day of election. and we're like, hey, I'm just going to check in on this next year to tell me like how low those prices are. And friends, not low.
So let's start this week.
Yeah, we haven't even started.
With a story about JD Vance, because last week he went to the University of Mississippi and he was trying to do a like Charlie Kirk memorial type of thing where he's like, I'm going to take questions from the audience and answer them.
Charlie Kirk's widow?
That is the fun rumor of the week.
I love that.
It's not happening, but it is funny to say out loud because it makes everyone mad.
It is pretty funny.
Yes. Anyway, so JD Vance did this Q&A session. You can get in line, ask me a question, which would only be a thing, which is only a thing because him and Trump and a lot of these Republicans just don't like taking questions from people they don't already pre-vet.
This shouldn't be an astounding act of like civil governance.
Right.
This is just them
not
doing
courageous.
their jobs.
He's trying to do a thing. Anyway, one of the more interesting questions came from this, what appears to be an Indian woman who basically let him have it for 5 minutes, said a lot of things like, I don't get why you're doing this. This doesn't make sense. But one of the things she asked, I'm going to paraphrase here because she spoke for a while. She said, you are married to a woman who is not Christian. She's Hindu. That's true. Usha Vance is Hindu. This lady said, how are you maintaining or how are you teaching your kids not to keep your religion ahead of their mother's religion?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Or how are you teaching them that you're kind, their dad kind, who just got here like a few decades ago when your people immigrated here because you're white. Versus her Indian family, which may have immigrated here in like the 60s and 70s.
Right.
How do you tell your kids... How do you avoid telling your kids that like your people are better than your mom's people? Something like that. Interesting question. Again, I'm paraphrasing.
And he's never thought of it.
And I think it's a fair question because Vance is a Christian nationalist. He's Catholic.
He's not married to a Christian.
He's not married to a Christian.
Wild.
And I mean, he spent his time in office so far promoting right-wing Christians who lie about being persecuted and denigrate people who are not Christian.
Right.
Like, we know he thinks Christians are better than non-Christians because of everything he says and does.
Like, what does his wife think about putting 10 commandments in every classroom? Is she like, yeah, no, that's a great idea?
That is a question I had too. And then my next thought was, nope, stop it. She deserves no sympathy whatsoever. She's like Melania. Nope, you're complicit in this.
Not in a sympathetic way, in a gross human curiosity way.
Usha Vance also clerked for Brett Kavanaugh. Like, she's not the hero anybody needs.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So anyway, at first, Vance's answer was not that weird. And I'm listening and I'm like, yeah, that sounds normal. He basically suggested all couples with different faiths.
Yeah.
You work through your differences on your own. He respects his wife. She respects him. He didn't really get into the theology of it all, which also makes sense. Maybe because he doesn't know anything, but also because I think in a lot of, if you're marrying someone who's not of your religious beliefs, it's probably because you overlap mostly on values.
Sure.
And you probably don't, like if you're deeply Christian, then at some point you think someone who hasn't accepted Jesus is going to hell for eternity.
Yeah.
That's kind of part and parcel with that package.
So is that just a thing he thinks about his wife?
Or he doesn't really think about it. He's like, I'm Christian, but like, I'm not that type of Christian. I don't take it that seriously. I just know it's good for me politically.
He just uses it as a code word for white.
Yeah. He uses it as a code word for like white Republican who's conservative on a lot of areas. But theologically... no, he's not really thinking about it that way. Right. Hinduism, by the way, is not an evangelical religion. They're not trying to win converts.
Right.
So it doesn't actually strike me as weird that she would have married someone who's not Hindu because it's like, yeah, we met, we like each other. That's the end of it.
Well, and also she's running around in conservative circles. It seems like it's mostly white dudes.
So their values overlap in the sense that neither of them have any.
Yeah.
So that's why they get along.
Boom roasted.
Right? So... but that does make sense to me. That pretty much tracks with any interfaith, whatever you want to call it, when it's an atheist and someone who's religious. You overlap on values.
Yeah.
But when it comes to religion, it's like, yeah, I like the idea of it. But in terms of the straight up theology of if you don't believe what I believe, you're going to burn in hell forever.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Probably
to say to somebody you love.
If you probably don't take that part of the theology that seriously if you're willing to marry someone who's not of the faith.
Yeah.
Also, when it comes to their kids... everyone does it differently, and I think the way he phrased it is like, I teach our kids, here's what daddy believes, here's what mommy believes. And I think for a lot of couples, yeah, let the kids figure it out when they're old enough. You're not denigrating the other side. You let them learn a little bit of both. So that answer, that idea of that answer,
I feel like explaining your faith to children is a surefire way of talk yourself out of having faith. Like, I just can't
when your kids are getting different information from different places.
I just can't imagine like being a kid being told like, dad believes in this magical thing and mom believes in this magical thing, and they both believe their thing is real, but they don't believe the other's is real, but they don't mind that the other believes in something that they don't believe is real. And you, 3-year-old, have to pick through the theologies and figure out what works for you.
My kids go to the Indian version of Sunday school because that's babysitting. And they learn about Jewish stuff because that's my wife's family. And we also celebrate Christmas because of gifts. Like, they're getting a little bit for everybody.
Oh, yeah. Neither of you is Christian.
They're only now figuring out different people believe different things. So we're purposely raising them to be confused, and it's wonderful.
Good.
But the point is, here's what else Vance said, and this is the part I wanted to bring up. He says, I think it's fair to say she grew up in a Hindu family, but not in a particularly religious family in either direction, ... So we decided to raise our kids Christian. Our 2 oldest kids who go to school, they go to a Christian school. Our 8-year-old did his first communion about a year ago. That's the way we have come to our arrangement. ... Now, most Sundays, Usha will come with me to church. As I've told her, and I've said publicly, and I'll say now in front of 10,000 of my closest friends, do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved by in church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way. But if she doesn't, then God says everybody has free will, and so that doesn't cause a problem for me. So, on the surface, again, part of me thinks, that's not a weird answer because I've heard versions of it.
It's probably the most honest thing he's ever said.
Yeah, right. But there are some gaping holes in that logic, because even if neither of them was particularly religious when they met, they have both very much leaned on their faith identities as public figures.
Has she as well?
She has, in terms of whatever interviews she does.
What is her actual job? Besides being second lady.
Now I think just second lady, but was a lawyer.
She was a lawyer, okay.
Firms, and clerked for Kavanaugh and others. But like, they've both kind of leaned into, this is a huge part of who I am, because I know this is what conservatives want to hear. But notice what he said about their kids. Yeah, we're raising them Christian. Interesting. Again, that's their business, but like, why not Hindu?
Just the way he kind of like brushed over, like, she wasn't particularly religious, so we decided Christian.
Which is interesting, because he has also said, and he did say in this longer answer, he wasn't religious growing up either. He fell into Catholicism much later in life.
I'm sorry, they're late adopters to Catholicism?
He is. And he said, like, he grew up atheist/agnostic, which to me is the Kirk Cameron way of saying that, which is, I never thought about it when I was younger. So I'll just call that atheism.
Yeah.
And then when he realized he wanted to go into politics, he knew better.
Well, and not only that, but it's a better narrative of I used to be this apathetic atheist person.
But now I'm a good person.
Right. Which is like every white dude up until maybe they're 28 or so are just like, I never had to think about it. Because like...
Doesn't affect me.
Yeah, because it doesn't affect you. They don't have to think about it.
But he said, like, that's the way we've come to our arrangement. Your arrangement sounds very much like you decided they would be Christian and Hinduism was never even considered.
No, yeah.
The husband said it. That's the end of it. His job required it. So that was the end of it.
I think I'm kind of bothered by the fact that they're actually going to a Christian school. Which, like, it's not even like, we'll send them to public school, bring them to church, expose them to, like, Hindu activity.
Private Christian school. There you go. He also said...
Also, I think people should be embarrassed about sending their kids to private schools. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think they should be ashamed of themselves.
He also said he wanted his wife to eventually convert, which...
That makes me... gives me the ick in such a big way. This feels like...
There's something... deeply broken about my wife that I hope she fixes in the future, as
And
I
I'm
say
going
to
to
the
talk
public.
to 10,000 people about my hope that my wife changes for me,
Right.
even though she doesn't have to.
Now, we respect each
And
other.
we respect each other. I believe she will be going to hell if she does not, because God gave her free will. What am I going to do about that?
Uh-huh. Now, is there any chance he's going to convert to Hinduism?
That does not
Probably.
feel on the table.
Nope, probably not. So why does he think, I mean, I hope she changes her mind, but there's no indication he's even considering the possibility of changing to hers.
No, because she doesn't care, he said.
No, I mean, that's a Hindu thing too. Like, I don't care if you convert or not. So I get that from her end, but the way he said it, he's like, I hope she converts, which... Okay, does she feel the same way? Probably
Does she
not.
know you hope that she convert?
Does she know you hope that, right?
This feels so much like I'm going to marry this person and then change them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to marry I loved this woman because she was free-spirited and didn't give a shit and yada, yada, yada. And now we're married. And why isn't she...
I'm going to tame her now.
Why isn't she cleaning the house every single day? Why isn't she cooking me dinner when I come home at night? Like, you can't just hope the person you picked eventually adapts to your lifestyle. That's not a good relationship.
This line, but if she doesn't convert, then God says everybody has free will, and so that doesn't cause a problem for me. According to your faith, yeah, it does. Because if she does not convert and you are as devout as you pretend to be, that means she's going to suffer forever. So how does that not cause a problem for you?
Like, Mikey does not like the songs from Wicked, and that bothers me inside my heart in a way that I'm really embarrassed to admit. I can't, and like every time he's like, I don't know, they just sound the same to me. I'm like, oh, that hurts my feelings. And truly imagine that times like a billion because it's your God and not just a musical you liked when you're 18.
And so he never answered the relevant questions that I would have yelled out. Which
is she going
like,
to hell?
Yeah. Do you think your wife is going to hell? Like,
what if your kids become Hindu?
It sounds
Are they
very
going
much
to hell?
like your arrangement is whatever you want, right? Like, the end result is your religion seems to take priority in your family. There's no indication that her religion gets taken seriously at all, other than I'll indulge and wear like the Indian clothing at ceremonies.
Does he?
Which she did, like their wedding. There are pictures of him and wearing Indian garb for like whatever ceremony they did.
You didn't even do that.
I didn't even do it. But like, that's not even a religious thing. That's a cultural thing more than anything. And again, that's not weird for an intercultural, interfaith couple. Anyway, all this is happening while the Trump administration is terrorizing communities of color, not just criminals, and making it very clear that white people, most of whom are Christian, will always receive preferential treatment regardless of what they pretend to say about religious freedom.
I mean, I will say in her defense, question mark, is that when you are a woman who has very little power in and of like by yourself, you're probably more worried about like your own servant. Like it's like The Handmaid's Tale, like becoming one of the aunts is like, I'm saving my own ass so I don't end up where y'all are. Like you guys can go fuck yourself. I'm looking out for number one.
Yeah.
And I think
brown people are not better off in this country because Usha Vance is second lady.
Oh God, no. Ugh.
And when later, like there were some conservatives who were mad about this stuff and they criticized JD Vance for, not conservatives, mind you, but people pointed out he's basically throwing his wife's religion under the bus is the phrase they used, to which he responded on Twitter / whatever we call it now. What a disgusting comment. And it's hardly been the only one along these lines. First off, the question was from a person seemingly to my left about my interfaith marriage, ...
Seemingly to my left?
Like, because she asked him a pointed question. So he's like, leftist. I don't even know what that's about. But second, he said, my Christian faith tells me the gospel is true and is good for human beings. My wife is amazing. She's a blessing, blah, blah, blah. She's not a Christian. She has no plans to convert. But like many people in an interfaith marriage or any interfaith relationship, I hope she may one day see things as I do. Regardless, I will continue to love and support her and talk to her about faith and life and everything else because she's my wife. Third, Posts like this, where they're saying you're throwing Hinduism under the bus to elevate yourself. Posts like this reek of anti-Christian bigotry.
Oh.
Yes, Christians have beliefs. And yes, those beliefs have many...
Christians have beliefs.
Thank you. Yeah, Captain Obvious. And yes, those beliefs have many consequences, one of which is that we want to share them with other people. That is a completely normal thing. And anyone who's telling you otherwise has an agenda. It's not anti-Christian bigotry to say, how dare you want to convert your wife who you say you respect.
Also, I cannot imagine every interfaith couple secretly hopes that their partner will convert over. Like, right. I think that's
if
really...
that's an underlying thing in your relationship, which goes back to what you said, I'll marry this person, but I secretly hope they change in the most significant possible way.
It's such an irresponsible thing to do to another person.
He could have just said the truth, which at least what I think is the truth about their relationship, which I know very little about, which is, look, neither of us is particularly religious.
Right.
So honestly, our religions don't really matter.
Right.
Because, again, we have a shared lack of values. But that would infuriate his white evangelical supporters. He could have just said, I respect my wife's faith, and so our children learn about both of our faiths. And eventually they'll have to make our own decision. Yeah, he dug himself that hole.
And he kept going.
And then he kept going. So he tried to have it both ways. He pleased nobody. The funniest thing is there's a group called the Hindu American Foundation, which has praised Republicans who offer like lip service to Hindus. Like, look, Sarah Huckabee Sanders celebrated Diwali. It's like, honey, she's not your friend.
She's
like,
Michael Scott in it. She's like, it's brown people Halloween.
So I'm not a fan of this organization, but they were not impressed with anything Vance said, and this is what they pointed out online as well. With respect, JD Vance, stop it. He doesn't deserve it. If your wife encouraged you to re-engage with your faith, why not reciprocate that and engage with Hinduism too? They also said there's also a history of Christians denigrating Hindus, attempting to convert Hindus through sometimes unethical means. In recent months, we've seen an outpouring of anti-Hindu sentiment online, often coming from explicitly Christian sources.
Also, I don't know, anti-Hindu sentiment is so funny to me. Like, it's like anti-Jain
what are we mad about?
sentiment.
What are we mad about?
You're mad? I don't understand. They're the chillest.
By the way, Hindus have like higher than normal income, and more of them support Republicans than you would expect from like an otherwise Indian community.
Well,
so
rich
it's like,
people
these
are
your
rich people.
Right, exactly. So like, why are you going? Like, don't denigrate Hindus. They're on your side in many ways. But the Hindu American Foundation also said, you're the VP. It's more than reasonable and well within precedent for a Christian public figure such as yourself to acknowledge the positive impact of Hinduism on Hindus and the rights of Hindus to practice. Basically, they're not happy with him either, and they praise Republicans all the time.
Yeah, so if he can't clear that bar, then we are in trouble.
And by the way, in case you're wondering what Usha Vance has to say about all this, which is something no one actually cares about, she did do an interview with Meghan McCain a couple of months ago.
I forgot about Meghan McCain. What's she up to?
Still. Who cares? But she does a podcast, which is the Who Are We to Talk? Yeah. This is what Usha Vance said.
Here's the difference. I bet people listen to hers.
Here's what Usha Vance said to Meghan McCain. The kids know that I'm not Catholic, and they have plenty of access to the Hindu tradition, from books that we give them to things that we show them.
Sorry, the tone is Heaven's own. This is not the tone she said.
This is my Indian accent. To things that we show them, to the visit recently to India, and some of the religious elements of that visit. So it is a part of their lives. ... Visiting India and going to temples, that's like going to Europe and going to castles. You do it because you're there, has nothing to do with faith or because you're royalty.
I went to Notre Dame in Paris. I went to St. Paul's Cathedral in England. Guess what? I'm super not.
Right. Having access to books about the faith doesn't mean kids are reading them, because kids are not reading. Well, and by the way, having Indian parents doesn't change that either. So she's playing up her Hindu side, even though clearly in practice it's not that meaningful to her.
Which is okay.
Which is fine. Just say that. Yeah. Yes. But admitting religion is not a huge deal in their family, which again is fine. and that's why their religious differences would be irrelevant.
Right.
It would not play well among Republicans, which is hilarious because Donald Trump himself, even though he lies and calls himself a Christian, strikes nobody as really religious.
Right.
And no one's asking Melania Trump about her faith because no one expects her to say anything of value.
Does she?
I had to look this up. Do you know what her religion is?
Yeah. Where is she from?
Slovenia.
Slovenia. Oh boy. Oh, some kind of like Orthodox Christian.
She is Catholic.
Catholic.
I did not know this because, again, not meaningful for her, which, again, don't care about. She has problems in other ways.
I don't care. Do you?
Yeah, very well done.
It's a throwback to a coat she wore once.
I did ask Dale McGowan, my friend, who once wrote a book about atheists who are in relationships and marriages with people who are religious. And like, how do you make that work?
Yeah.
What are the obstacles, etc.? Because he's talking to people who have made it work.
Yeah.
The book is called In Faith and in Doubt.
Oh.
Right? Clever. But I asked him, like, hey, what'd you make of J.D. Vance's comments?
Oh, yeah.
And this is what he said. He's like, it makes perfect sense from the traditional Christian perspective in the sense that it's very exclusionary.
Yeah.
He said, if he really believes it, it makes sense to hope she jumps into the boat, but it certainly violates the foundational requirement of a successful interfaith marriage.
Wow.
And does so with total disrespect for the other partner.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, the question of how to make Catholic Hindu marriages work is a sore subject for a lot of Indians, given the history of colonization and conversion in India.
Yeah.
But also, think about this. Vance's answer comes while other Indian Republicans who are Hindu, Vivek Ramaswamy, who's running to become governor of Ohio now.
Oh, interesting.
Kash Patel, who's the FBI director, who's taken his private FBI jet to go watch his girlfriend. And then when people found
watch his girlfriend?
she performs music somewhere, he's
fun.
like, I'm doing a concert somewhere. He's like, I'll fly the FBI jet. And when people found that out and
They
called
were
him
really
out on
happy
it,
about
he
it?
decided, I'm not letting this be publicly tracked anymore. Anyway, Vivek Ramaswamy and Kash Patel are...
But food stamps are the reason that our country's fucked.
Yeah. They are still receiving constant racist insults from the same MAGA base that J.D. Vance is now trying to appeal to, which is hilarious.
Oh,
Leopards eating my own face stuff. Like Vivek Ramaswamy's going around Ohio, which he very well could win because it's Ohio, but he's like talking to people and they're like, yeah, but you're Hindu. You're not one of us.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is, yeah, buddy, this is the base you're trying to court.
Oh, boy.
I would also point out, for Religion News Service, Khyati Joshi, who's also Hindu, wrote about the message she took from J.D. Vance's comments, which is that it reinforces an old and persistent story about belonging in America. That wholeness, W-H-O-L-E, that wholeness, even love itself, ultimately depends on coming to Christ. Americans who are Hindu, Jewish, Sikh, Buddhist, and Muslim will hear Vance's hope as a public reminder that only one faith is really American.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is another...
Because it's such a deeply insulting thing to say about somebody you love.
Yeah,
Of like,
yeah.
oh, I hope you abandon the things that you believe in to appease me. And it's so insulting.
He also suggested, like, when it comes to his wife, who on paper appears to be very different from him in so many important ways, he stressed that through their differences, we have our shared goals of raising our kids and helping Trump destroy democracy. But when
murdering homeless people.
But think about, like, he's very respectful of, like, she's different from me in a lot of ways. She's Hindu, I'm not. She's brown, I'm not. Like, okay, fine. He's like, but we work together on the things that we love. We love our kids. This is how we're raising them. Like, that's fine and normal. When it comes to Democrats, though, think about how he talks about them.
Oh, God.
We're not going to work with them on anything. He lies about them. He demonizes them. He treats them as if they're not real Americans. That's another reason his answer sounds so weird.
Yeah.
We know what you're like because we see what you do.
Yeah.
It's all bad. But you want us to believe that in private, you're this thoughtful, respectful individual who's tolerant of other people's differences? Really?
I don't think so.
So...
Because definitely people are generally kinder when they're behind the scenes than they are
when the
camera.
camera's on. I assume you're kinder than what you are behind
that's
closed
the best version
doors.
of you I'm gonna get. And
Yes.
anything when the camera's not off you is significantly worse.
Right. So he doesn't see Hinduism as a faith equal to his own. It's some cultural artifact. Look, my wife is brown.
Do you think?
So she's Hindu.
Do you think when they go to like eat Indian food, he gets just like a side of white rice and some naan and is like, it's too spicy. The naan is too spicy for me.
You should get in line and ask him when he's doing another one of these events.
God, now I really want Indian food, though.
I do appreciate that in the sanctity of his own marriage, he can't imagine a union not centered around himself.
But that's also a very Christian thing to do, is your wife is subservient. You're not equal, but you're not equally yoked or whatever. You're the boss. And most people don't live their lives that way because that's an insane thing to do. And so more and more, we're like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird to say that about your partner.
It is a very weird thing.
Interesting.
Haven't seen an Usha Vance comment since those comments from JD Vance happened, though. I'm very curious.
Do we have a wellness check? Is she alive? Has she been...
Don't know, don't care. I'm sure she's fine, but I'm very curious what she says.
Who's the wife of the Scientology guy who disappeared like 15 years ago?
Oh, Sherry Miscavige?
Mrs. Cabbage.
Uh-huh.
She's going to get Miss Cabbage.
Shelley
Miscavige.
All right, different story. I'm moving on. This is one I've been wanting to talk about on this podcast for like a couple of weeks, but I'm so excited.
Well, you're
to share
the only
this.
person in charge of what we talk about on this podcast. So
that's very true. Okay. Here's what's going on.
Okay.
A couple of months ago, the American Humanist Association had their convention. It was in Chicago this year, and they gave me a Humanist Media Award. And they said very clearly,
what the fuck, dog?
it's not for... Dude, we talked about this for months. So they gave a really nice Humanist Media Award for whatever stuff I do. And they gave me like a few minutes to give an acceptance speech, right?
Nice.
So instead of talking about stuff I work on, I was like, all right, I have a problem with all of you, essentially. And here's my argument in a nutshell. I like the AHA. They do good work. But like, here's my argument to them. And let me see if I can condense this down to a few minutes here.
Okay.
Church-state separation under attack right now by Christian nationalism. Science is being defunded. The biggest voices in the GOP government are like pseudoscientists. They're trying to whitewash history. We talk about religious indoctrination in public schools all the time. We need rational, reason-based, evidence-based thinkers. Like that used to be our thing as atheists, right? But if you go back 20 years, who were the atheists that were propped up? Same dudes, always the same dudes. Mm-hmm. The writers of the new atheist books,
the Four
Richard
Horsemen.
Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens, etc. Even if I asked you now, who are the most famous atheists in the country? It's probably those guys, some of whom are dead now.
Yeah.
Also Bill Maher, but like all of those people, Maher, Richard Dawkins, they have a bunch of other problems that make me not want to elevate them. Right. Not because they're white, but they definitely are. But like... Also, one of the things that has been an ongoing conversation in our broader, big quotes, movement is that, well, there are women who talk about this stuff. What are we doing to elevate them? There are people of color who talk about this stuff. What are we doing to elevate them? Not just like Ayaan Hirsi Ali, who, again, not white man, also very problematic.
Yeah.
And now no longer an atheist, too. That was an old story, right?
Forgot about that.
But, like, what are we doing to platform the voices who represent a broader swath of atheists?
Well, they gave a brown guy an award.
I know. That's a good start, I said. But here's another thing, okay? We need people who can capture attention for the right reasons. We need people who can break out of our bubble and speak to different audiences who may not give a shit about atheism, who can talk about the importance of a secular nation and church-state separation, who can push back specifically against Christian nationalism and the way it's attacking civil rights and women's rights and LGBTQ rights. And one thing to point out is there are so many people who already do this, and they do it on YouTube, they do it on TikTok, they do it on all the platforms neither of us are on because we're old. Like, and they're good at it, and they're effective at it. And we, as a movement, big quotes, are not doing anything for them, right? On the flip side of that, what happens to conservatives when they are trying to launch their own thing, who are not Republicans per se, but they're just like disenfranchised, mostly white guys who just hate the world, but they definitely echo right-wing talking points. If you go back and look up, like, have you heard of the Daily Caller website?
Sounds familiar. But
it's a conservative website, very large, huge company, founded by Tucker Carlson. But the way it was able to launch is because there was like a very wealthy donor who's like, I'm going to throw millions of money at this project,
Sure.
millions of dollars at this project, so you can hire whoever you need to hire and elevate these voices. And I don't remember which names off the top of my head, but some of those people have gone on to become big players in the conservative movement. The same could be said about Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA.
Sure.
It launched because he got a lot of funding from groups that were like, I like what you're up to.
Yeah.
And so let me throw money at you and build this. And guess what? He did become a huge voice. You can go across the conservative spectrum and you can, for every major right-wing influencer, there is often a wealthy donor who is backing up that person whose name you probably don't know.
Sure.
But that's the reason they got the studio and they could build up their audience and they could push these talking points and look like they're not coming from the Republican Party. Like Mike Johnson, no charisma, but a lot of power.
Yeah.
But you point to like some of these right-wing influencers, lots of influence, but no political power, but they definitely get ins. And one of the things Donald Trump did well in 2024 is he's like, who do I need to talk to? And it's like all of them. Who knows who they are? He's going on weird podcasts with people who have promoted white supremacy and anti-Semitism, and none of it mattered. He's just like, yeah, I'll shoot the shit with you for a couple of hours.
The Joe Rogan kind of effect.
Yes, and Kamala Harris did virtually none of that. Like incapable of having those types of discussions with strangers who they haven't pre-vetted, basically. So here's the point. As a movement, if we want to elevate these voices who are really good at championing our views when it comes to fighting against Christian nationalism, even talking about atheism, what the hell are we doing to promote those people? Because a lot of the people who do it well, and I know this because I've seen them on YouTube and occasionally I'll see them on TikTok, not my place, but they do this. They're doing it really well. But for like a lot of us, we are some of the people who do this sort of thing full time. But there are not a lot of us.
Oh my God.
Imagine if you found like a YouTube creator who made these stellar videos, like 10 minutes about Christian nationalism and how it's wrecking our public schools. And these videos get hundreds of thousands of views, which means it's not just us watching them.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Why aren't we sponsoring those videos?
Yeah.
Why aren't they interrupting their video and saying, by the way,
if you want to do something.
This video was brought to you by American Atheists. They had nothing to do with the content of this video, but they support the message of it. And by the way, I support the work they do and you should all become members. Anyway, as I was saying, and imagine if they did that instead of like, this is brought to you by stamps.com.
Yeah.
Like, fine, I'm glad you're getting paid, but like, why is that the company sponsoring this video and not one of our groups that supports your message?
Yeah.
So this is something I've been arguing to these groups directly. I know them and I've been pitching this to them for a long time. And I know a lot of them don't have crazy amounts of money.
That's the thing.
But I've been going to them and like, I know you give away scholarships, thousands of dollars worth of scholarships for essays. You know who writes good essays? Kids who are smart in school, but probably don't give a shit about being activists for church-state separation in the future.
Sure.
Right? Occasionally they might be, but like you have that money, you have donors willing to give you that money for the scholarships, throw that money at the creators doing good work. Because imagine what would happen if those YouTube creators and TikTokers could do this full time.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't have to worry about a paycheck because they already know, okay, I'm going to get X amount of dollars. I can budget for this. Let me make the best videos I can because I'm reaching people that the old school organizations just cannot reach. Their memberships
and
are
really
old. aren't really trying to. I mean, they're trying, but they're not really effective because at the end of the day, pick a group. The American Humanist Association. They have to work to elevate the American Humanist Association and everything that stems from that, which is great. I like that. I agree with that. But versus some random teenager who makes amazing videos about why humanism is a good philosophy, why church-state separation is good, they're not shilling for the AHA.
Right.
They're shilling for the ideas. And hey, there's overlap there. Why aren't you working together? So this is what I pitched to them at that conference.
Cool.
Right? What sort of future could we create if groups with the kind of financial resources available to groups like the AHA and the Freedom from Religion Foundation, directly gave it to people supporting these projects, supporting these values.
Cool.
Turns out the day after I gave that talk, AHA kind of pulled me aside and said, someone agrees with you, one of our donors, and they want to give us a lot of money to make this happen.
Oh, God, what? Really?
Yeah. And basically, this donor gave them over 6 figures and said, go start doing that.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And so I knew about this for months, that they were trying to get this off the ground. And now, this is what I've been waiting to talk about. They're finally making it public that we're started this already. The beta phase has already been happening. And now we're ready to get bigger, and we're letting people know about it. And so here's what they did that I was super excited about. And I was able to get the exclusive because they owe me something for that. No. But here's what they've been doing for the past couple of months.
Patreon.com/friendlyladies.
No, for the past couple of months, they found YouTubers, some of whom, by the way, I was not familiar with. And they said, this person makes really good videos. Hypothetically, here's what they did. Hey, Jessica, you make these YouTube videos that get a lot of views. You do a really good job. We want you to make a video about humanism. What's something you would feel comfortable making that we could get on board with? So, for example, one person talked about, her name is Alyssa Grenfell. She's an ex-Mormon, has over 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, and talks about her ex-Mormon life. Makes really good videos. And they're like, what could you make that would overlap with what we do?
Sure.
She's like, well, I could talk about why I left Mormonism and how that feeds into humanism, something like
the
that.
values of humanism, how they are more applicable to my life than those of Mormonism.
And they were like, yeah, we like that idea. We'll get on board with that. So the way they programmed, they're testing it out. They said, we'll give you X amount of dollars to make that video. And depending on how many views you get, we might give you more. If it gets a ton of views, you could make more. So do your best job. There's your motivation. And by the way, the video she made, not only did she make this long video about why she left her faith, within the first week, it got over 100,000 views, which is not bad for YouTube.
Yeah.
And there was a page that she linked to that goes to the American Humanist Association's website. It's specifically tailored to her fans, so she could sell merch. And if they buy merch, she'll get a cut of it too. But also, about 6 minutes into this long video, she directly says, by the way, the American Humanist Association is sponsoring this video. Love it.
Yeah.
There's another person they had in this initial testing phase named Durante Lamar. He's a former pastor who now deconstructs the Bible to his 60,000 subscribers.
Wow.
He's an African-American pastor, or used to be. And now he's talking about here's what's wrong with the Bible.
Wow.
Different style, different kind of videos.
Sounds like very different
Also
vibes.
very interesting. Very different vibes. Did the same thing, has his own AHA page. There's also someone involved called Apostate Aladdin. It's a pseudonym for an ex-Muslim who has 50,000 subscribers and speaks to a mostly Muslim, ex-Muslim base.
Wow.
And the biggest one they involved was the one person I know who's probably the best at YouTubing, who is Drew McCoy, who goes by Genetically Modified Skeptic. And Drew has over 800,000 YouTube subscribers, makes super thoughtful videos that take him weeks to write and put together. And he's kind of their go-to guy. He's worked with brands. He knows how this world works. And they also had him involved. He made a video about eradicate the Trump task force to eradicate anti-Christian bias in the government.
Oh, funny.
That stupid thing. So he made a video explaining that, calling it out, explaining why it's a problem. So the AHA said, we're going to work with you first. Let's try to figure out a method that works. Maybe some of it works. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe we have to adjust what we pay or in one way or the other. And it's been a couple of months now. So now they were like, we're going to go public with this. Because I'm sure most people, maybe you saw the ad in their videos, but you probably didn't.
Yeah.
So now they're saying it. And they're saying, now that we've done it, we're going to make modifications. We're going to expand. We're going to bring other YouTubers into the fold.
Cool.
And eventually, I hope, they will get into podcasting and TikTok and whatever else the youth are using.
Yeah.
Right? But in their pitch that they're making to their donors, because they're like, in order to make this work, we need to fund it.
Yeah.
So, hey, donors, if you want to help out. How much money are they spending on this project right now? They are giving themselves a budget of $10,000 a month to support this kind of work.
Okay.
That should last them about a year, at least,
Sure.
given the donation they got to start this. And they're hoping, hey, it's working.
Yeah.
Here's the numbers we have to back it up.
Yeah.
Hey, donors, give us more so we can keep this going.
Yeah.
And they're saying, we want to grow their impact while bringing humanism into more conversations. They're backing influencers who already have loyal, engaged audiences because, again, it means more when it's coming from someone you trust.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. I love the plan. I've been asking them to do this
Good
sort
for
of thing
you.
forever. And I was thinking, what are other ways atheist groups try to have this happen? The Freedom from Religion Foundation, which I love. They have donors pay for full page ads in the New York Times to join FFRF.
Sure.
Who's reading the New York Times?
Right.
In print.
Right.
I mean, I don't know that that's worthwhile. They give tens of thousands of dollars for scholarships with essays. Their essays get published in their newsletter, their newspaper.
Who's reading that?
those? I don't believe anybody, or at least I will tell you, none of those essays, as far as I can remember, have ever made a splash beyond getting published.
Sure.
So if you're looking to influence, why do you do a scholarship? We want you to think about these issues, show us how you're going to be good activists
Right.
for atheism, for church-state separation. If you want to do it, there are people who are already activists who are going to stop making these videos or whatever content they make because they can't do it full time.
Yeah.
Stop supporting people without a track record who are good, smart students who know how to write essays, who might just be feeding them into ChatGPT now, and give it to people who have a proven track record and could be your biggest cheerleaders if you let them do it. So I asked Drew, the genetically modified skeptic channel, how is it working for you so far? Because you have experience with all this. And what he told me is this is the best version of this kind of partnership he has seen so far.
Wow.
He said AHA they offer more flexibility and collaboration than any other video sponsor I've ever worked with. And the goal for AHA right now, and this is part of what I was able to see, they hope these videos that they're sponsoring get about 15 million views over the next year. They hope it leads to 700 new AHA members.
Sure.
So maybe there's some conversion between people watching the videos and saying, oh, I should support this group.
Sure.
And eventually they want to branch out into other forms of content creation. Now, there are some risks. What you're supporting, hey, Jessica, I like the videos you make. Let me give you money. What happens if you make a video criticizing the AHA for something they did? What if you make a video about Israel and Gaza and I disagree with your position? What's the AHA going to do then? Because this is one of the issues, Richard Dawkins has really obscene, disgusting views on trans people. And the AHA said, you know what? We don't want any association with this guy, so we revoke an award we gave him years ago. That's all we really can do.
Yeah.
But what happens if they were saying, hey, Jess, we like your videos. Here's money for content creation. Could they pull it
my
back?
content is,
How much-
I hate the AHA.
I mean, what happens if they make a decision that you don't like?
Sure.
Are you censored from criticizing them if you want to stay in the program? And this is what they're going to have to figure out.
Sure.
On the right, the answer is we don't give a shit what you do.
Yeah.
We just want you
We'll
to
throw money
we'll
at
throw
you.
money at you and
Say whatever horrible shit you
we
want.
assume you're going to do some stuff that upsets us, but overall, it's good for us.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right approach on the left.
No such
So-
thing as bad press kind of deal.
And I asked the AHA directly about this, and their communications person said this to me. If we can't give our partners the latitude to think for themselves or even criticize us when we get things wrong, then we are not living our values, which begs the question why we do any of this to begin with. So, fair answer.
Great.
But we haven't seen it actually come into play yet, so we'll see what happens when that happens. Right now, all these collaborations are video to video. It's not hey, here's a year's salary for you. Go do your thing. It's more make this video. We'll give you this amount of money. They are now working with another cohort. They're bringing in more creators into the fold, trying to ramp this up. That's awesome. And I will say, the Freedom from Religion Foundation and American Atheists are now also exploring similar types of programs, but hasn't been done with the same level of formality as the AHA has done. I will say FFRF has also sponsored one of Drew's videos in the past, but they're ramping this up too. They know it's the right way to go.
Interesting.
So I think if we want our non-religious humanistic values to reach wider audiences, this is the best way to make it happen. Not by just trying to boost those groups.
Right.
And I like the groups.
Right.
It's by finding the people who are already doing the work for you and letting them do it without having to worry about where their next paycheck is coming from. Because this is a joke we've made before, I think, on this podcast. But like, and I'm not taking credit for it. I heard it elsewhere. Conservatives who are doing this type of influence work, they have so many millions of dollars at their disposal. For liberals, we have a grand total of $3 and we all give it to each other in a big circle jerk.
Yeah.
So this is one of the best ways to make it happen. I hope it spreads. It's a long time coming. And anyway, I'm so excited about it. I hope it works.
That's really exciting.
Right?
Oh boy, I hope we can get a cut of that particular pie because boy, oh boy, the setup is tenuous. It's fine. It's great. We don't need money, apparently, I guess.
But this
it's
is the
fine.
thing.
Friendlyatheist.com.
Imagine even the podcasts that are popular in the atheist space. Most of them are doing it from makeshift studios, and they do it, most of them, not as a full-time gig.
Yeah.
And that makes it harder to build a base and keep doing it, because the hardest thing about a podcast, as we know, is just doing it
every week,
regularly, and in the long term.
Never missed a week, gang.
Right.
We've been doing this for 12 years. Never missed a fucking week.
Right. And that is hard to pull off for anybody. But again, most of the places that, if whatever podcast you all listen to that have nothing to do with atheism, it's because they have the money to pull it off.
Oh, yeah.
And also, a lot of those companies are like, we don't have money anymore. You're expendable. Bye.
Yeah.
And they'll go away. We need to make long-term investments into the people doing a good job.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because I've been, shows like Last Podcast on the Left and My Brother and Me have made, while still staying true to like it's primarily a podcast, have started both putting out just video, like we're doing, just the video version of their podcast. But also, like, the McElroys have this new, like, online show they do once a week. And so now that's a whole other, like, revenue stream for them, and more content that they're putting out. And, like,
I gave this speech when I was giving a talk to a different group about a month ago, but this is also one of the more successful local groups. And this is my pitch to them, too. You don't have the resources that a group like the AHA has.
Right.
But locally speaking, who's speaking your values? What are ways you could support them?
Yeah.
It's a good thing to look into, especially if you have the means. And some of these groups, again, FFRF, I'm thinking, has a multi-million-dollar budget. And that's awesome. I love that. So does the AHA. And I know staff is always hard to come by too, but take some of that money. You're already doing these types of programs.
Yeah.
This is a good way to spread your message.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's really
Let's
exciting.
move to a totally different story.
Hey, well, I mean, before we leave that, if anybody wants to sponsor this, if you're selling something,
We go to the highest bidder and the lowest bidder.
and all of the bidders,
and
if you
all
bid,
of the
you're
bidders.
in. Bidding starts at $1. All right. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Let's talk about Florida Republicans. This story just made me laugh.
Okay.
Okay. Here's the
Florida
backstory.
Republicans, nothing funnier.
I know. 30 years ago, Florida began its voucher program. And basically, they said, if you're a low-income family, if you have a child with a disability, we want to give you access to a private school that can accommodate you, which sounds reasonable in a sense. Maybe the public schools can't accommodate whatever it is
Maybe
your
we should fund those
situation
public
is.
schools to be able to
Maybe you should fund those public
help
schools.
more kids. But what do I know?
That's how they started the voucher program about 30 years ago. In 2023, Florida Republicans, because they have a supermajority in Ron DeSantis, they passed House Bill 1. This is their priority.
Top of
which
the list.
expanded the voucher program significantly. And under that bill, pretty much anyone in the state can get a taxpayer-funded scholarship, and that money can be spent at private schools, which means that money can be spent at private religious schools. And Republicans said this is going to expand school choice to all families.
God, school choice and right to work, they're so insidious with their language. It's disgusting.
Now, the story isn't actually about the vouchers themselves because, they're a problem.
Yeah.
People who follow education policy know it's a problem. This is a multi-billion-dollar plan, and it's worked as intended in the sense that over 300,000 students in Florida are now receiving vouchers to attend over 2,200 different schools, costing the state over $3 billion a year. Yeah. And of course, most of the private schools that they're paying money to are Christian schools.
Just going to look up some Florida education standards while you do
Now,
that.
some of these schools, because they're private Christian schools, they ban gay students. They enforce strict gender-specific dress codes, things like that. So they're not just like Christian in values, right? They are very much no, we're a Christian school, no LGBTQ people allowed. In 2020, the Orlando Sentinel found that 156 private Christian schools in Florida had anti-gay policies, including 83 that outright will not admit LGBTQ students or expel them if we discover you are.
What is that? The students, or is that their parents?
Students.
Cool.
Now, here's where it gets interesting.
I love the idea that we can kick somebody out of school because they love somebody other than the person I would like them to love. I think that's a great Christian
And again,
value.
public schools can't, but these private schools getting taxpayer dollars absolutely can. Now, here's where it gets interesting. About how many schools, private schools that can take vouchers, how many are non-Christian?
Oh, 5.
Pretty much. About 24 of those schools. I just said 22, over 2,200 different schools are getting money through vouchers. About 24 are...
So like 10%, less than 10%?
Oh, way less. Yeah. Way less than 1%.
1%.
It's about 1%.
Math is hard.
They are Islamic private schools. And at least a couple of them are not just, a couple of them have policies that say if you're a girl, come into our school, you got to wear a hijab, which is the same thing as the Christian school saying you got to wear this way. Yeah. No gay students allowed. And now this fact is freaking out some powerful Republicans who are like, taxpayer money boosting Islam? It's so funny.
Boy, I love when this shit happens.
Last
because this
week,
is always our hypothetical. Like when it comes to like Christian nationalist bullshit or doing anything in schools.
What if Muslims
did this?
Or atheists did the same thing?
Oh my God, it's happening.
Yeah.
It's like the trolley problem happening in real life.
Last week, the founder of an anti-Muslim organization, not good people, they posted videos on X/Twitter, basically from the administrators at a couple of those Islamic schools. And basically these administrators were saying, come to our school. Let me show you what our school looks like. This is what we do here. Like basically a promo video for their schools. It's not weird, but they were saying Islam.
You said it's not weird in a very weird voice.
Only in the sense that like if I saw a private school saying, hey, come give us tuition. It's worth it here. Let me give you the grand tour of why our school is worth it.
Right.
That's what schools do. That's not weird. The difference is, one, they were speaking in Arabic. And two, they were basically saying Islamic education is vital for the Muslim community, which, all right, I disagree. But also, that's what Christian schools do all the time.
Yeah.
You got to get your kids a biblical foundation. So send them to our school. And so these guys were talking about the importance of the Quran.
Foundation?
Yeah. And this anti-Muslim person who tweeted these videos said, this is essentially funding terrorism. They said the state...
Oh boy, they get to the T word really fast every time.
It's the campaign against Iran Mamdani as well. They said the state is paying to, quote, educate these children inside Sharia-run institutions, and that Florida's school choice program is now, quote, bankrolling Islamic schools tied to Muslim Brotherhood-linked networks.
Yes, this is it. It's happening. They're going to see the light. They're going to run into the point and see it and understand it.
She said she was disturbed by, quote, Sharia dress codes, which...
The hijab.
And she's like, these schools don't celebrate Christmas.
Well...
That's a real thing she said.
Well, I don't...
I hate to tell you how synagogues work.
I don't think that is anything.
Have you seen your local yeshivas? Yeah. And she said they're bringing in, quote, clerics trained in militant Sharia institutions who signal sympathy for terror actors. I don't know what that is in reference to.
That was a word salad.
Yeah. That's what happens when Twitter increases its character limit.
Oh, did they?
She backed none of this up.
Oh, sure.
It's just standard right-wing bigotry.
It's things she made up.
She ended with this plea, because this is still one tweet pretty much. This is not diversity. This is a rival, legal, civilizational system built with public funds. Parents think they're choosing freedom, but Florida is subsidizing the construction of a permanent Islamic power base that will not vanish when the money stops. The handbooks, leadership, networks, and expansion plans all admit the end game. Florida is not merely...
we want to do.
Yeah, Florida is not merely allowing this. Florida is financing it.
That's
now,
stupid. I hated that. I hated every moment of that.
My impression was good, though. If this is just one bigoting, maybe you ignore it. But Florida officials jumped on this. So Attorney General, the guy who replaced Pam Bondi, his name is James Uthmeyer. He's the Attorney General of Florida. He shared that tweet.
Oh, good.
And he added, Sharia law seeks to destroy and supplant the pillars of our Republican form of government and is incompatible with the Western tradition. The use of taxpayer-funded school vouchers to promote Sharia law likely contravenes Florida law and undermines our national security. My dude, they were just saying, here's our school. You should check it out.
Well, they were speaking a scary language.
And then...
And did I mention they were brown?
Yeah. And then Wilton Simpson, who is the state's agriculture commissioner.
He is. If your name is Wilton Simpson, you have to be a farmer.
And you know who I want to hear about education policy from? The agriculture commissioner.
Yeah,
he chimed in saying that, back in his day, as Senate president, which he was... Universal school choice was one of my top legislative priorities. Schools that indoctrinate Sharia law should not be a part of our taxpayer-funded school voucher system. And then the Orlando Sentinel said, hey, Attorney General, you got evidence that these schools are promoting Sharia or doing anything illegal? What do you think these guys said?
Sharia law is?
No. And what do you think Uthmeyer responded?
Yeah, probably.
He said...
If I know brown people.
This is Orlando Sentinel. Uthmeyer's office did not respond to an email from the Orlando Sentinel this week asking if he could provide examples of Sharia law in schools that take vouchers or explain how that type of instruction might conflict with state law.
That's really fun. Uthmeyer? Is he brown too?
He is not.
Huh.
Yeah. But
that's a very odd...
Florida Republicans are currently working on a bill working through the legislature right now that would ban state courts and agencies from using Sharia law, which is a thing that doesn't happen. And so it is funny to me that there are roughly a couple dozen Islamic private schools and like another 2,000 Christian private schools that are using vouchers. And these guys are flipping out because some people are using vouchers to go send their kids to Islamic schools where they basically say, we'll teach you some stuff about the Quran and also other stuff.
Like math.
Which,
using Arabic numerals.
Exactly. They're probably really good at math. And these people are like, what? Other schools are doing the thing that church-state separation advocates 100% said would happen? Why? Just listen. By the way, you want to know how you stop taxpayer dollars from funding Islamic schools?
Don't fund any religious schools with taxpayer money.
Yeah, end the voucher program entirely. But they're not going to do that because they love it when state funding props up Christian schools. They just don't think other religions should be given equal treatment under the law.
Okay, how is this going to play out? Because I think this is my prediction.
Yeah.
Is that they are going to try to rewrite the law to exclude Muslims particularly, or only include Christians, and they're gonna fuck it up, and it's gonna and they're gonna get sued over it.
And the thing is, that's what the voucher program did.
There's no way around it.
That's what the voucher program did. They created a law that specially privileged Christian education,
right?
And Muslims were like, we can take advantage of this too. And we have the resources to create our own schools, and we can get taxpayer dollars for them. And actually, it would make us more popular because more families could come to us.
Yeah.
And they were like, and so to your point, I don't know that there is a way they can just have Christian schools do it. How do you write a neutral law? How do you write a law that looks like it's neutral, but only benefits Christians? And the fact is, this is what Satanists have done very effectively, what atheists do. It's like, you can write the law however you want and think it's going to benefit Christians, but we'll take advantage of it.
You cannot make that language airtight enough to only exclude, because also, what about private Jewish schools? What about,
And there's not a lot, but they do exist, but they're not complaining about those.
What other private religious schools are there besides Christians?
I think you hit on the big ones.
Yeah,
there are some others, but not many.
Jains don't have their own thing that they're doing.
Correct.
Boy, oh boy.
And all of this just takes away from the fact that, hey, also, you know what also sucks besides private religious schools? Voucher programs.
Yeah.
Like they are hurting public schools. They deepen inequality.
Yep.
It's replacing education with indoctrination. I mean, vouchers are bad.
Yeah.
But it is funny that Republicans in Florida are like, well, some of the voucher money is going to Muslims.
I never thought the tigers would eat my face.
Yep. Leopards, get it right.
Jesus fucking Christ, Hammett. Yeah, this is fun for me. I look forward to watching this over the coming months to see how. Also,
I wonder if it's just going to be a tweet and now they're done complaining about it, because that's probably what'll happen.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think it's like Trump. He'll say the thing he wants to say, but then take
fury, signify nothing,
and then hope you forget about it.
Yeah, that is probably more accurate, but I like my version where they have to like try to tap dance around the obvious racism that's happening here.
So,
very funny.
Different story here. This involves Texas. The Texas Supreme Court recently issued not a ruling, just a new rule they just magically put in place.
So sorry, what's the difference between a ruling and a rule?
The ruling is like, this case is in front of us, and how can we help Republicans? Here's our ruling on the matter. This is more like there's a code for ethics for judges in the state of Texas. Oh. And they were like, hey, everyone, we're just making a quick change to that ethics document.
What I know about Texas is if they do something quickly and shadily, it's probably pretty good.
So let me explain where this is coming from.
Who's going to freeze to death this time?
Here's the story. And we've talked about this lady before, but it's been a while. December of 2019, there was a justice of the peace. Her name is Diane Hensley. And basically, one of her many jobs is, hey, if someone comes to your courthouse with a wedding certificate, a marriage certificate, they want to get married, you got to sign off on it. That's your job. You can even perform the ceremony on your own time for free because you have the credentials to do it. You can make some extra money that way.
Sure.
But she said, I am not going to sign off on anything for the gays.
Oh, good.
She basically...
The main problem in Texas is the gays.
So she said, I'll refer them to someone else. She's pulling a Kim Davis. I'm not going to do the job I'm supposed to do, even though it's legal and I'm legally bound to do it because of my religion.
And I'm special. And I'm the main character of this episode.
Now, when that happened, the Texas Commission on Judicial Conduct, which exists to my surprise... They basically gave her
the chillest office of all time.
They gave her a public warning, which is like, hey, you're not really supposed to do this.
We see you doing this.
But instead of removing her from the job, the commission just said, hey, watch out. You are, quote, casting doubt on her capacity to act impartially. Because based on what you're saying and doing here, maybe if gay people come in front of you, they may not feel they're going to get equal treatment under the law. Yeah. That's our concern.
Yeah, that should be a big deal.
And they also said you might be punished in the future if people really do think you are being partial and not being a fair judge.
Sure.
How did she respond to that like mild slap on the wrist?
Very chill.
Very chill. She sued the commission because how dare you point out my Christian bigotry.
Is this a new thing that happen? Why is this happening right now?
This is 2019.
Oh, you did say that.
Yeah,
okay.
But basically in the lawsuit, she said the commission violated the Texas Religious Freedom Restoration Act by investigating and punishing this judge for recusing herself from officiating at same-sex weddings. The state of Texas has substantially burdened the free exercise of her religion with no compelling justification.
I mean,
really?
You know, they're citizens of Texas and human beings. They deserve to be treated with respect.
I mean, yeah, what's the compelling justification? It's that people deserve to be treated equally under the law. Yeah. A judge who says, I'm going to perform wedding ceremonies, but not for you people.
Yeah, your legal standing can't be gay people are icky. Yeah. That just can't be your precedent.
And like, what is the substantial burden? In no way did the commission...
It hurts her feelings.
Yeah, in no way did the commission impede on her rights. But she said, I want $10,000.
I want $10,000. I mean, Patreon.com. That's when they hate these podcasts.
She said, that's the money I'm losing because right now you're saying I'm not allowed to perform any weddings in my spare time when what I want to do
How much is she charging?
Make some side money by saying yes to straight couples, but no to gay couples. Right now, her only legal option was don't do any. That's the only way you could stay on the right side of the law.
Breaks.
So she's like, I want $10,000. That's how much I could be making in my spare time. She also said, I want a declaration that everyone who's in my position can do the same thing as me if your God tells you to be bigot. Okay.
This is not going to end well, is it?
In 2021, a judge basically tosses out that case on a technicality. basically saying the commission can't be sued for warning you that you might have violated their rules.
That's fair.
Right? Like, you don't get to sue them for that.
Yeah.
But an appeals court then took it up, and they're like, yeah, whatever they said, that sounded totally sensible. So then Hensley says, well, I'm going to the Texas Supreme Court about all this. And that's what they did in 2023.
Oh, boy.
And her lawyer is Jonathan Mitchell, who is the guy most famous for backing the state's infamous abortion bounty law, where you can get money for turning in someone who gets an abortion. And she said, I have every right to discriminate on the basis of sexual orientation. She said, like, the law says wedding officiants like her and judges, we can't discriminate based on race, national origin, or religion, but it doesn't say anything about sexual orientation.
Isn't it a protected class?
I don't know, not in the state, I guess. But she's like, I'm allowed to discriminate for other reasons, so I
like
should
what?
be fine. Like, you're gay. So she said being a Christian allows her to be an anti-gay bigot, just not a racist bigot. So you guys, don't you see? Yeah. Anyway, even though both of those involve characteristics no one chooses for themselves. So, like, again,
so sorry.
All she had to do here, as Jessica has a coughing fit, all she had to do is opt out of performing marriages. No one was ever forcing her to do it against her will, but she wanted the ability to get paid to sign marriage certificates for straight couples and dismiss gay couples. And she said, my religion matters more than the law, even though I'm working for the law.
The law.
Right.
I am the law.
You don't get to pick and choose which rules to follow. That destroys civil rights, right? So, as the commission explained, the commission's lawyer, who was trying to defend their warning letter, like, we're not punishing her. We're not even threatening to punish her.
Yeah.
We're just letting her know, hey, what you're doing here, it runs afoul of our rules. And, you know
the law.
You should care about that.
Yeah.
And also they said, we're not punishing her for her religious views. It's her actions. If a Christian judge doesn't want to perform any marriages because they openly say, I don't want to sign off on gay marriage licenses, guess what? They legally could do that.
Yeah.
That'd be fine legally. But she wanted to offer the service while excluding certain people. That's the problem. This is a total side note, but I got to tell you this tangent.
Great.
In 2023, Diane Hensley did an interview with the Dallas Morning News because they were curious about this case. They wanted to interview her. And she even said, because of this ruling and all this, I haven't done any marriages, performed any, in years. That's a lot of side money I'm not getting, right? But then she also said, falsely, that children with straight parents, opposite sex parents, fare better in life, which, no. There's no evidence.
Do you know who
of
fares
that.
really well in life? Kids who eat and are loved and have a state that doesn't let them freeze to death in their houses.
Here's the tangential part. She also gave an anecdote. She's like, I love gay people. I have a brother who was gay and he died, but like he was gay.
When I murdered him for being gay.
She's like, I love him. This is not about bigotry, but here's her story that she told. After he had a falling out with their parents over what she described as economics, I don't know what that's about. Hensley said she hired a detective to track him down once a year and take a photograph as a gift for their mother.
Oh.
One year he was in Paris, another year in Japan, then Dubai. She stalked her brother, who was
around
gay,
the world
to
get a picture
so she could send proof of life to her mother because the son wanted nothing to do with the mother anymore. Which has nothing to do with this story.
Jesus
It's just creepy.
Christ.
Anyway.
Yikes, but dikes.
So, moral of the story, if she wants to get ordained and perform private wedding ceremonies for like straight white evangelical couples, she could do that.
Yeah.
But she doesn't get to discriminate while working for the government. Her lawyers said, well, the U.S. Supreme Court already sided with that Colorado website designer who did not want to make wedding websites for gay couples, even though no gay couples asked her to make a website for them. But like that was their defense.
Yeah.
Like you're allowing the Supreme Court said the designer can offer a service and say no to gay people. So that applies here too. The difference is that was a private business owner.
She's a judge.
And she's a judge. I don't know why her attorneys didn't get that, but there you go. So the concern over what the Texas Supreme Court would do was very real. Because if she won, what's stopping other judges from using religion as an excuse to deny justice to other potential clients? So here's what's weird. The case never really got resolved. the Texas Supreme Court did not really address the religious freedom thing. And the Texas Commission on Judicial Conduct, they dismissed their own sanctions on her, which they never really had in the first place.
Yeah.
And then an appeals court said you could still sue over this. It was just a hot mess, a lot of legalese. And by the way, while all this is happening, there's another Texas judge who's like, I'm going to file my own lawsuit because I saw what happened to Diane, so I'm going to do it too.
Oh, boy.
At some point here, the Texas Supreme Court is going to have to make a decision, and they have not formally ruled on any of this.
Yeah.
And that brings us to what they just did now.
Oh.
They made a rule change to the ethics board, basically.
And I bet it's really good for us.
Here's what they said. It's a one-sentence thing in the Texas Code of Judicial Conduct that the Supreme Court, by fiat, just said, hey, we're just going to add this sentence into the ethics code. Here's the entire sentence. It is not a violation of these canons, these rules, for a judge to publicly refrain from performing a wedding ceremony based upon a sincerely held religious belief.
I wish I was allowed to have sincerely held religious beliefs so I could just punch white guys in the face sometimes if they need it.
There you go.
Because sometimes they need it.
Here's what's weird about that. So they're basically giving a Diane rule here. If she wants to say no to signing off on a same-sex wedding because it violates a religion, it's not violating the state's ethics rules. It's a special Diane carve-out. Now,
fucking Diane.
Here's where it's messed up, besides everything.
Yeah.
That same rule could theoretically allow judges to avoid any ethical consequences if they don't want to perform wedding ceremonies for like mixed race couples. I know race is a protected class in Texas, but also if they say, well, my religion says God doesn't like mixed race couples or mixed religion couples.
Oh.
Like as long as their bigotry stems from religion, maybe
Can they refuse Muslim couples?
Maybe you're violating civil law by doing that. But ethically speaking, according to Texas,
that's fine.
That's fine. That's what's very strange about this. It could also let judges refuse to perform wedding ceremonies for people who had sex before marriage, because I believe in abstinence before marriage.
I'm sorry, how are we proving that?
The
boy.
Christian right has
never
ways.
Never mind. Right. I don't want to know.
But that doesn't mean the judges are off the hook, because if a gay couple goes to a Texas court to get married and a judge refuses to sign off on it,
that couple could sue.
And that has nothing to do with the ethics rules.
Yeah.
Right. And so one law professor said, one of the claims that I think will be made in response to any litigation is likely that, there are other people who can perform the wedding ceremony. Diane can't do it. Someone else can do it. But of course, that's not how equal protection works.
Yep.
And it's not how we expect government officials to operate.
And also, I don't know a lot, but not when Mikey and I went to get our wedding license thing, we went to downtown Chicago.
Yeah.
And there's a bajillion judges there. Everybody does not live in Chicago. I'm sure there are places where the courthouse does not have 15 judges you can pick from.
Right.
Like an old fashioned brothel. I want this one. I just, there isn't always necessarily going to be a selection of judges.
Well, we talked about this when it came to pharmacists who don't want to dispense birth control.
Yeah.
It's if you don't want to do it, but the guy 2 feet away from you will do it, maybe we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Right.
But in a lot of places, if the one person on duty doesn't want to dispense it, what do you want me to do? Drive an hour or two to get it? That's ridiculous. Yeah. Do your damn job.
Right.
So this is where we're at right now.
Wow.
The ethics rule now says, if your religion says you can be a bigot, we'll allow it.
So it's really not to undercut how bad the precedent of it, but right now it's pretty toothless.
Yeah. I mean, it's about ethics. And if you're a Republican judge, what do you care about ethics?
Yeah. it's barely a guideline.
Clarence Thomas doesn't care about ethics.
Oh,
so why should any of their people?
Interesting.
All right. One last story for you. This one's just amusing.
All right.
And it involves another federal judge and ruling on a case involving a public school teacher. Here's the story. There's the woman's name in question is Marisol Arroyo Castro. She worked as a teacher for over 3 decades. She's a grandmother. She spent the past 2 decades teaching elementary and middle school in the school district of New Britain, Connecticut.
Ooh.
Yes. Ooh. So earlier this year, she was put on paid leave because people found out on her classroom wall, what is there?
A crucifix.
A giant ass crucifix. Is it giant? It's a big enough crucifix that people noticed it.
I clock a crucifix anywhere.
You can come look at this picture on her desk. It doesn't look huge, but it is very well in sight of her desk. And
it's front and center.
It's front and center. Yeah, it's not hiding anywhere. It's right there. So
someday I'm going to figure out how to put pictures into the video stream, and then this will be a better product.
Apparently, this cross had been in her middle school classroom or elementary school classroom for years, and like no one noticed, which kind of makes sense because if you're like in third grade, maybe you're like, I don't even know what that really is.
Well, I think also depending on where is this in the country?
Connecticut.
Oh, Connecticut. Oh, that's right. I was going to say there's places in the country where like
you might not think anything of it.
Yeah, it's just sort of de rigueur to have a cross everywhere.
But again, if you're teaching younger kids, maybe they don't get the significance, much less the legal argument as to why this is wrong.
I mean, I will say crucifixes used to scare the shit out of me as a kid because it's a dead dude.
Yeah. So a couple of years ago, she got switched from like 4th grade elementary school to like 7th grade middle school.
Oh,
so now kids are a little older and savvier. And she hung up this crucifix in her new school. And she said later, they were like, why do you need this cross in your classroom visible? She said, having the crucifix in view at my desk brings me daily calm. Throughout her school day, looking at the crucifix provided her with peace and strength. During her lunch breaks, rather than going to the teacher's lounge, she would remain at her desk, look at the crucifix, and pray. Which
fucking weird beard.
Which is weird. Like, it's fine, but there's no reason you can't keep the cross in your office, in your car, in your desk, where you can pull it out
you can have
as
a
needed.
little necklace. I've heard some people sometimes have necklaces with crosses on them. I don't know if you've seen this.
So in December of 2024, basically the school's vice principal sent her an email saying, hey, we need to set up a meeting to talk about this. Not a disciplinary meeting. We're not going to punish you. Basically, I think they wanted to say, hey, you can't do this. We want to let you know you can't do this.
Take this gracefully.
Yeah. And they did say in the email, you're allowed to have a union rep with you for this, which is like symbol that it's a big deal. Yeah. But also they were like, we're just telling you, you can't do this. This because union rep will back me up on this.
Right.
But you can't do this, so take it down.
This feels like hey, nobody's mad at you. We just really want to let you know that this is a thing. Hey, nobody's mad at you.
And a lot
Guess
of
what?
times,
no one's mad.
When we've talked about these stories in the past, a lot of times the teachers honestly don't know what they're doing is illegal.
Sure.
So fine, now we're telling you. The day after they all met, the vice principal sends her a follow-up email, just like, hey, let me send you a summary of what we talked about so we're all on the same page. Yes, paper trail. And he said, during the meeting, which was attended by your union representative, I shared that any permanent displays of religious symbols are prohibited from public schools based on the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. I said, you got to take it down by Monday.
Yeah.
You inquired if you could think about it or pray on it, which I replied that you could. However, it would not change the outcome of the meeting. Your next question was, what if I don't take it down? I replied that it would lead to insubordination and disciplinary measures. And then at the very end of this thing, I will stop by your room on Monday at 8 a.m. to observe if the cross is still displayed. Thank you and have a great weekend. Very formal, like, listen, I'm just doing my job here. Okay, it's about as harmless and straightforward as you would expect.
Yeah.
Okay, she did not take the cross down. So the administrator sees this in her classroom. They give her another chance. Which, I don't know. They basically said, look, if you want to keep it...
Did you forget?
Yeah. They said, you just got to keep it somewhere where it's not shoved in kids' faces. It's magnetic, maybe? Put it on the inside of your desk underneath where you could see it, but it's not in front of kids.
Or like on the inside of a cabinet door.
Yeah.
You can open it up.
Take it out when you need to during your private time. We're not going to punish you for that. Yeah. That's fine. She said, no.
Nope.
Her lawyers said, other teachers at this school have not been forced to hide their personal items under their desks. And what kind of personal items are we talking about?
Apple?
Whoa, let me tell you, they gave a list in a lawsuit that she later filed. The list included, other people get to put their shit on their desks. Why can't she? The list includes, I'll read it from A through H.
Oh, boy.
Action figures and images of Wonder Woman. B, a desk mat with images of Baby Yoda. C, a miniature picture of the Mona Lisa. D, a New England Patriots football team pennant. E, a Connecticut State University decal. F, photos of family and pets. Oh, here we go. G, inspirational phrases such as, Yes, you can. You are loved. Keep calm and call Wonder Woman. And every day matters. Oh, and H. And
Oh
H.
my God.
And this is their big one.
Yeah.
Other items with religious origins or connotations, such as
Hit me.
a picture of Santa Claus, a coffee mug with the citation to chapter 31 in the biblical book of Proverbs, a photograph of a statue of the Virgin Mary, and a Christmas tree.
A Christmas tree.
By the way, they submitted a photo of that coffee mug with Proverbs 31 on it.
What are Proverbs? Do you know?
Proverbs 31 is the be a good Christian woman, I believe. Godly Christian woman, which is irrelevant to this. But they included a picture of the mug so they could be like, look, you're allowing this. I'm showing Jess the picture right now of the teacher who has the mug. One, you can't even see the mug. Where's the mug? I'll zoom in. You can see the mug. And basically,
oh my God,
it says teachers on it. And then in tiny print, right below, like it's the inside of a Chick-fil-A like soda, it says Proverbs 31 on it. There's no way a student would have caught that, is the point.
Dang, they use name brand Purell. That's pretty fancy.
It's one of them good Connecticut schools.
That's how they get you.
So anyway, the judge even noted later on, I'm forwarding to the story, when the judge issued a ruling, the judge said, no one can see the Proverbs 31 in the mug because I looked at the picture you submitted.
That you submitted.
So eventually, so what does the school do? They put this woman on paid leave while they try to work through this. Like, don't come to school. You're not listening to us.
What?
They can't just randomly fire her, right? There's logistics hoops they gotta jump through, bureaucratic hoops. So they say you're on paid leave, don't come to school until we officially decide what to do with you.
Okay.
And she eventually said, you can't fire me, I quit.
Oh.
So she agreed to take it down. Initially. But according to her lawyers, as soon as she put her hand on the crucifix to move it, Miss Castro felt sick and grew distraught. The next morning, Wednesday, December 11th, 2024, she left the crucifix under the desk that night. But the next morning, Miss Castro returned the crucifix to its place on the wall. She did so out of personal conscience and sincere religious conviction that to do so otherwise would be an affront to her faith. So that's when she was placed on paid leave.
Sounds like you had the wrong job then.
She wasn't listening. She wouldn't compromise. The school had no choice. They gave her the option, like, you can return a few days later, but you got to take away the cross.
The cross is gone.
And she said, nope. And then her lawyers said, well, what about Joe Kennedy, the football coach?
Fucking Joe Kennedy.
Because he wanted to, do his faith thing while on the clock, working for the school, and the Supreme Court said that's okay, so why can't this lady put up the cross? Literally, this is what they said. The court concluded that the football coach's post-game prayer, at a time when coaches were free to attend to personal things, was constitutionally protected, despite the fact that students could see his private religious expression.
Okay.
So the school was like, that's not how anything works.
That's not it.
So by the end of January, before they could even make a decision, she quit. And then she filed the lawsuit. And to be clear, no one was suggesting she was proselytizing in the classroom.
No.
Only that she's indirectly pushing her faith on kids by putting up a religious symbol in class. Mm-hmm. It would be obviously inappropriate if someone put up a satanic symbol.
Yeah.
Or a Muslim Islamic symbol.
Yeah.
Or an atheist banner.
Yeah.
Like, you could say it's as small and out of the way as you want, but if kids can see it, you're doing it.
Yeah.
So it's not okay here. And if you can't tell the difference between a cross on the wall and a Yankees pennant,
right,
like, you shouldn't be a teacher.
That's so funny to me.
The district responded.
The Christmas tree one really got me.
I know. The district responded by saying, listen, we're just following the law. Yeah, other teachers have personal items, but we're not treating her any differently. They said if other teachers put up inappropriate items, they will be reprimanded for it.
Also tell them not to.
But the fact that hasn't happened, it's not evidence that we're treating her unfairly. It's evidence that no one else has given us a reason to take down their shit.
Right, like, that's the thing that always makes me laugh is like, well, how come this doesn't happen to anybody else? Like, you're the only one causing disruption.
They even said, because no teachers have displayed crucifixes in their classrooms at De Loretto Middle School, defendants admit that they have not had occasion to issue discipline for such actions. The district also took issue with the claim.
Is that supposed to be a gotcha?
I don't know. They also said, in your lawsuit, you said the crucifix is small. In their response to the lawsuit, they're like, denied. They're responding point by point.
Like a foot tall?
It's big enough that everyone can see it. They also denied her claim that she was pressured by the school district to resign or retire early and sign an agreement not to sue the district. She said they made her do that. The district said, that's not what happened.
What did happen?
They just said in the lawsuit, this is what you're alleging. We say, nope, to that point, and they moved on. Now, it's been almost a year since all of this happened.
Yeah.
This week, a federal judge finally ruled on the issue.
Wow.
It's U.S. District Judge Sarah Russell. She's a Biden appointee. And she ruled the school district has every right to punish this woman for her insubordination, and that the promotion of Christianity in her classroom is definitely not okay. And she wrote, this cross is not passive. In fact, something she never mentioned is that 2 students complained that Miss Castro was exposing students to religion in the classroom.
Really?
And also said that Miss Castro was making religious comments to students in the classroom. In fact, this is actually why administrators even bothered to go to her in the first place. Like, hey, we've heard from students that you're doing this in class. Oh, and hey, by the way, what's that on your wall? Like, why did they go to her?
So
they issued an independent investigator, like, hey, go look into this. What's going on here? That independent report found that she allegedly said in class things like, I hope Papa God helps you with your lies. Or, go find God. This is all when she's disciplining kids for bad behavior.
We're not going to move on from Papa God.
Papa God.
I have never heard that before.
It's my favorite pizza joint.
I hate it.
Yeah. She's disciplining kids for bad behavior, which she's well within her right to do.
Sure.
And that's the way she's talking to them about it. You need to find God. Anyway, the judge also said, why are you bringing up Joe Kennedy? He was doing his showboaty midfield prayers at a time when coaches could deal with personal things, even though they're still on the clock for school.
Right.
But this lady is on the clock as a teacher. It's not the same thing. This isn't, hey, right now the bell has rung, so you have a couple minutes to yourself.
Throw it up.
This is Joe Kennedy was not doing midfield prayers during the game, which would have been the analogous situation.
Yeah.
He's doing it separately from that. So this is what she wrote. Unlike the students in Kennedy who were engaged in other activities while the coach prayed, Miss Castro's students received the religious message when they were required to be present in the classroom receiving instruction from Miss Castro. By the way, she noted in a footnote that even Kennedy's lawyers, when speaking to the Supreme Court, they admitted that a teacher who hypothetically prayed in class during instructional time would of course be violating the law because that's on the clock.
Funny.
Russell concluded, under these circumstances, based on the existing factual record, I conclude that Miss Castro is unlikely to prevail on her claim that her display of the crucifix on the wall of the classroom constitutes speech as a private citizen rather than pursuant to her job duties as a teacher. Therefore, I conclude she's not likely to prevail on her free speech claim. She's not going to win on her free exercise of religion claim. So basically, the school's not doing anything illegal.
Yeah.
So the bottom line here, Arroyo Castro has a choice. She could return to the classroom and play by the rules. No crucifix. Or just admit that pushing religion on kids matters more to her than educating them. She has chosen the latter. And her lawyers, in response, they were furious. Of course, they did not bother to say what the judge got wrong. Here's what First Liberty Institute said.
Oh, boy.
Today's decision flies in the face of clear Supreme Court precedent. We will appeal and continue to fight for Marisol's religious liberty rights. To which she said, I still hope that I will be able to return to the classroom and continue to invest in the lives of students as I have my whole teaching career. She's always been able to return to the class. She's a grandmother, but I don't know. She's always been able to return to the classroom. She has chosen not to.
Yeah.
So good. I mean, this is not just about a cross on a wall. This is about how Christian nationalists have this fundamental misunderstanding of how faith works in a secular space.
Yeah.
Right? She wasn't punished for being Christian. She was mildly disciplined for deciding that her personal faith overrides the Constitution.
She wasn't even disciplined.
She wasn't
was
even
just
disciplined.
told, like, hey, you're doing a thing and it's the wrong thing.
Right. And by the way, what about the rights of every kid in her classroom to not have to deal with that bullshit?
Yeah.
So the school district, they appear to have acted responsibly, patiently, professionally. They offered compromises. They did not mock her religion. They did not humiliate her. They did their jobs, something she did not do. And it took a federal judge to step in and say, hey, public schools aren't churches.
Right.
You're not a pastor. So great news.
Yeah, that's really good news.
Small beans story in terms of priority, but still an important, funny, mostly because there's so many pictures and these lawyers are so mad at what other teachers are doing. And I'm just looking at look at what other teachers have. This is complaint.
A snowflake.
Yeah. And they're like, look, this one has inspirational quotations hovering all over the room. And it's like a garbage can underneath a desk somewhere that says, yes, you can. And they're like, see, if you allow personal things like that, you must allow her to proselytize in the classroom.
That's wild. Well, I mean, it is a small potatoes story, to be sure, but if it did not go correctly, it could have opened up a really scary thing. Same with the Texas judge thing of like,
that's right.
Obviously, what they're doing is not good, but it is not the wholesale damage that they are attempting.
Right.
Right?
Right. So that's it. That's it for this week.
Cool.
Please leave a review at wherever you get your podcasts. Please go to patreon.com/friendlyatheistpodcast to support this show. Mm-hmm. And we will talk about many things in our bonus episode.
Have you watched anything that you want to talk about?
I have watched more of The Pit, which I think we talked about last time, didn't we?
Not last time.
Okay, I'll talk about The Pit.
The Pit, like the show?
The show.
Yeah, I hear it's very good.
Yeah, we'll talk. And what else?
I just rewatched Fall of the House of Usher and Heretic, and I want to talk about those again. Also, continuing into my fidget journey. This is the one I have this week. I don't know. I hope you guys couldn't hear it, but I didn't drop it as much.
Nicely done.
So the problem is people were like, oh, I usually color or I do, or like take notes. Problem is I'm on camera. And so I have to like be present.
There you go.
Anyway, we will talk to you in the bonus. Everybody, your stickers are going to be coming over the next few weeks. I had to order a lot of stickers, but we really thank you for your support. Yes. It means a lot.
We'll see you next week. Have a good one.
Bye.